After Nick Walker, Ryan Reynolds provides a voiceover stating that he's likely had a rougher day at work than the audience. A gigantic, hulking-like monster bursts through a door. The enormous Hulk is not him, he continues. While being pursued by Nick and his companion, the huge figure leaps off a vehicle and onto the side of a building before running through the streets. The figure mocks them while perched on the building's edge. While stating that he was not in the RIPD 3 or 4 days ago, Nick points a sizable gun towards the audience. Nick can't remember which day it was, but when we go back 3 or 4 days, we see him burying many shattered pieces of what appear to be golden discs in his backyard. He digs a tiny hole and plants a sapling of an orange tree there. His wife Julia, Stephanie Shostak, gently wakes him up in the morning and inquires about the tree. He pretends to be innocent while expressing anticipation that they will soon get a good house, one that is superior to the one they currently possess, as well as a good car. Julia claims that she is less concerned about money than Nick, and that all she really wants is for her husband to wake up next to her. Nick welcomes his colleague, Bobby Hayes, as he enters the Boston Police Department for the day, Kevin Bacon. It turns out that no one else in the department is aware that Bobby and Nick took the golden pieces from a previous cocaine operation. Bobby and Nick intended to use it only for themselves. However, Nick abruptly informs Bobby that he has changed his mind in light of Julia's claim that she was content as long as she had him. Nick will turn in his share of the gold as proof, but he won't inform anyone or turn Bobby in. He is unwilling to put Julia's happiness in jeopardy for something she arguably doesn't need. An informant has turned over a large meth enterprise run by drug lord named Garza, and the department is preparing to raid the location and put him out of business when another cop approaches and orders everyone to get ready. Nick pokes fun at Bobby for a moment about the street Christopher medal he wears around his left wrist, ostensibly for protection, as the police and a SWAT van leave. The hideout is broken into, but the shock only lasts for a few seconds before Garza's men emerge and unleash all of their ammunition. Nick recognizes Garza and follows him up to the building's roof. When Bobby arrives, Nick, who is perched high on a catwalk, notices Garza has slid out a window. Bobby approaches his buddy with a glum expression, and for good reason. He tells Nick that he can't allow him to turn the gold in. When Bobby starts firing, Nick is thrown off the catwalk and to the ground by the semi-automatic rifle Bobby is using. The impact breaks his neck when he lands directly on it. Nick stands up and looks about confused as his eyes open. When he hits the ground, it seems as though time has stopped. He circles around, taking in the scene of the fighting that has been frozen in time, as well as the sight outside a breached gate, where an explosion has left a squad car, and numerous police officers frozen in midair. When Nick notices a peculiar vortex-like cloud formation, his feet start to lift off the ground, and he begins to rise higher and higher into the whirlpool. He soars through an absurd picture, one of an infinite number of human figures in a stream heading for a hole above. Then, though, he is yanked sideways and flies into a stark white room where he lands in a desk chair next to a desk. A lovely dark-haired woman, Mary Louise Parker, is seated behind the desk, watching him with a mildly pleased expression. On her desk is a name sign that reads Proctor. Nick is told by Proctor that she is here to help him and that because she has sat in the same chair as him, she can relate to how he is feeling right now. Nick was on his way to judgment, and Proctor assured him that, especially after having taken the gold, he could definitely use a kind word and recommendation. She is the chief of the RIPD, or Rest in Peace Department, according to Proctor's offer. Some people slip through the cracks after dying and continue to live among the living, rotting their souls even while they continue to appear to the living as regular humans. Earth's population has increased so much that more people die every day than the system can handle. Finding these deados, as Proctor refers to them, and rounding them up is the RIPD's responsibility. Nick will be working in Boston after 100 Earth years of service with the RIPD. Nick immediately offers to help, but Proctor demonstrates that she is not to be duped. She has a full case file on Nick's life and would not send him back to live with Julia. Nick is led by Proctor into the main area of Boston's RIPD precinct, which is staffed with cops from many eras who are always adapting to Earth's evolving civilization. Nick's first assignment is to meet his new partner, Roy Pulsifer, Jeff Bridges, a gun-happy, rough-talking, attitude-filled lawman who doesn't appreciate having a partner. Roy invites Nick to go with him after noticing that Proctor isn't offering him any other options. When the toilet in the department is flushed, they are taken into the restroom of a VCR repair business on a Boston street. As a disguise, the shop's emblem is on their car. Roy informs Nick that Proctor wants to give him some closure to begin with. For Nick, this means attending his own funeral. A flag is draped over his coffin, a full 21-gun salute is fired, and it is then folded and presented to Julia, who sobs softly. However, Nick becomes enraged when he watches Bobby Hayes, the partner he deceived and killed, approach Julia and give her a hug. Nick begins to run off the hill he is standing on and into the dispersing funeral crowd in an attempt to talk to Julia, but Roy makes no attempt to stop him. When Nick finally gets to Julia, he discovers that she is unfamiliar with him. In addition to hurriedly defending Julia from Nick, Bobby also appears unable to recognize him. As Bobby protectively helps Julia into a car and they drive away, Boston police officers seize Nick and restrain him at a distance. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notification for more movie recaps.